Oh boy, what did we get ourselves into this time? So, I thought I'd never ever find a V8 4-speed CJ in Tucson ever again. I drove 500 miles to Cottonwood, bought this black behemoth here, thinking that's how far I'd have to go to find what I'm looking for in my price range, right? Well, of course, as soon as I get home, the very next day after getting the black Jeep, I find this second green turd, because the first green turd already sold. But this green turd, which we now call the Puke J7, was a V8 4-speed, NP205 transfer case, a rear Dana 30 with one-piece axles, and a Detroit locker. Oh boy, get this. Here's the kick in the gut. 1 mile from my house. I drove 500 miles to get this black Jeep. This thing was 1 mile down the road. I cannot believe it. This guy was so cool. He brought this thing over on a trailer. I hadn't seen it, heard it run, anything. I just saw one picture, a very brief description. I paid for it right then and there, and he brought it. And oh boy, what I thought was a screaming hot rod, which, well, it kind of is. Oh boy, we walked into a hornet's nest. So we are going to tackle this thing piece by piece. Alright, so I had to wait till after 6 o'clock to get under 100 degrees outside, where it's even safe to be working. We are back on the Jeep Vomit J7, is what we're going to call this, or the Puke J7. Story behind this. Alright guys, if you can hear me over the goat's desperate cries for attention, I saw this hot rod on Facebook. I bought this thing without driving it, without seeing it, without even knowing if it runs. I had one picture on Facebook. Said 83 CJ7 Chevy 4-speed NP205 transfer case. When I saw that, and I saw these tires, which cost more than probably both of these Jeeps together, Thornbirds, brand new. I saw these tires with that Chevy drivetrain. I bought it, running or not. Oddly enough, the dude, super nice guy that sold it to me, downplayed this condition of this thing. He said, oh, it's a rock crawler project, doesn't run very good, the carburetor's messed up, I don't know. This thing runs like an absolute sewing machine. I slapped a Quadrajet on this thing, and this thing will smoke the tires all the way down the street. I can launch like a rocket out of first gear. This thing accelerates hard. This thing is it's a ripper. It's just a bone stock 250 horse truck motor, but in this little Jeep, man, this thing is brutal. Didn't even need that much. Right now, we got massive, horrifically bad, worst in the world header gasket leak. We can check all the oil and all the drivetrain. Brakes are almost down to nothing. We gotta check the brakes. The booster works, but I don't know, maybe a wheel cylinder blew or something. Check brakes, fix the header leak, and then street rip. Alright, let's get to it. Captain's log. Star date. Wednesday the 9th. Whew. So, where do I start today? Oh man. So, the past couple days it's been 110, 110, 108, and then out of nowhere, 89. So, I am completely taking advantage of below 100 weather. That's winter for us here in Tucson. The more I tear into this Jeep, the weirder and weirder it gets. So, I'm concerned about this rear axle. So, brakes are shot. Doing the rear brakes. I had to get a different... I had to completely redo everything on this drive shaft. They had a strap style yoke on here, but on a U-bolt style. They had straps on a U-bolt style yoke, I guess is what I'm trying to say. So I had to go get the right U-bolts. Oh my goodness, what a day. Master cylinder shot, so we're going to do master cylinder, manual choke setup, brakes, and I think this thing should be good to go. Because I had this thing up to 50 and I didn't really notice anything weird, so I think this thing's alright. From here forward, this thing's a screamer. It's got an awesome little small block Chevy in it. From here back, it's all sketchy. This Jeep is the exact opposite. From here forward, it's shot. The motor is just a dead, it's a V7. It's an AMC 360 V7. So we're trying to revive this motor. I may have to pull the heads, who knows. So from here forward, all bad. From here back, all good. This thing is much more, way better built than the Puke J7. This thing drives and stops really nice. All the drivetrain is set up really well. This thing is just sketchier and sketchier every time I look under this thing. I'm finding more and more sketchiness, which you'll see as we rip into this hot rod. Alright, brakes, here we come. Alright, round 10. Fight! Got this side done. This whole rear axle is just a complete debacle. So we are still straightening out the nonsense over here. The entire braking system back here is shot. So this was just hanging loose. Oh, that was just hanging loose. And that has to be braced so you don't break your brake lines. So we had to fix that. We had to replace all these brake lines back here. I had to cut this line. Yeah, this lane here. I had to cut this brake line because it was just rusted solid, wouldn't even spin. The fitting wouldn't spin. So I gotta go to the parts store again, get brake line. But this side's done. I'm gonna put the wheel on, and we are going to do the brake booster and tackle the other side. Alright, let's get on this bad boy. Okay. We tightened all the header bolts. That header bolt was missing. We tightened it. All the header bolts were loose. We tightened all those. Yes, we have the wrong air filter, and this needs vinegar and water and a Scotch-Brite pad in a hurry. I think that's just brake fluid I just spilled everywhere. Oh, let's look at the drive shaft. So, if you can see that, I think I need to get a different U-bolt, because that's a Chevy yoke to a Jeep yoke. So I need to find a wide U-bolt that's round, maybe Copper State. Nut and bolt has that, so I can tighten those flat against the yoke. We need to fix that. It's got one catalytic converter going to a muffler with this custom-made, horribly booger-welded. I'm not even sure those are going to hold. I may just get an 83 cross member and make it work in here, because I just don't know. That weld looks good. These welds look okay. The ones on the other side look horrific. These actually look alright. Pretty boogery, but massive exhaust leak there. So we tighten that. Hopefully that works. This is what a 205 transfer case looks like in a Jeep. Too bad it's dark as heck. So yeah, let's get to it and see if it leaks. Alright, whew. We just did a Quadrajet swap on this bad boy. It had an Edelbrock on it. I sold that, bought this. Had to buy the adapter plate for the Edelbrock intake. And we are just about ready for liftoff to see how good or bad this thing will run. I've never heard this thing run for more than 5 seconds. So let's see what we're going to get. I'm excited and terrified at the same time. Let me find my brake cleaner. Got a terrible exhaust leak. We'll let it warm up. Guess I should have checked the oil, huh? I didn't even do that. Idle's good. Boy, that exhaust leak is horrific. Good oil. Getting it in. Check the oil pressure. $55 of oil pressure. That's pretty good. Wow, that thing runs like a sewing machine. This is the carburetor I brought with me to Prescott when I was going to buy that blue Jeep that had the dead cylinder that I didn't wind up buying. This is that carb. It's been sitting in a box ever since that trip. Now, it's back in full service. No leaks. Revs up good. I think the secondaries are loose. Secondaries are opening up a little too soon. Yeah, those should be tighter. Runs like a sewing machine, guys. This is the first time I've had it running. God, this thing is hard to get into. Ugh! Dude, this thing is high off the ground. Sounds like a stock motor. It doesn't sound like it has a lot of horsepower. Secondaries definitely need to be tighter. Definitely running on all 8. Holy crap, does a gas gauge work? No. Gas gauge can't work. I can't be that lucky. I won't be that lucky. It's up to normal operating temperature. Does it move? Oh yeah, it wants to move. Why is the e-brake light on? Alright, good deal, guys. Alright. We are still fighting the puke J7. So, I begin with this thing? Okay, so this thing's pretty fast. Got a lot of power, but there's all kinds of weird things wrong. I don't know if there's a horrible vacuum leak on this hot rod. Thought maybe right here. I capped it for the heat riser choke. Maybe here. But it won't idle, and it kind of dies at stoplights. But when you stomp on it, it'll accelerate super hard. Got this really bizarre. Never seen this before, but we got this awful oil leak. If you look right, I don't know if you can see that, but there's just oil puking everywhere right here. And it looks like it's coming right out of the cylinder head. Which just sounds impossible because it's not overheating and it's running really awesome except for idle. I think what's going on is if you look right, let's see if I can get you in there. If you look right there, there seems to be oil puking out right at both corners of the intake. Same thing on this side. If you look down here, if you look right there, it looks like oil is just puking out of the head gasket, right? And when I had it running, it looked like oil was just puking out of there. And I'm thinking, man, what the heck? How can both head gaskets be blown and this thing still be running on all 8? Well, if you look in this corner, I don't know how well you can see, but if you look down there, you can definitely tell that it's puking out of that last bolt there. So, I don't know if that's creating the vacuum leak that's messing up my idle. I sprayed here with carb cleaner all around the gasket base and the plug, and idle didn't speed up, so I know we're not leaking there. So yeah. I think what I'm gonna, so I think that's an intake gasket that we are going to have to fix. And yes, power steering pump is shot. Or not, well, the pump is shot, but the box is shot. And yeah, to fix these, you have to take out. You basically have to reseal the entire inside of this thing, and you have to take. You basically have to take it out anyway to reseal it. It's a pain to do it in there. So I'm just gonna replace the whole box with a new one. If I'm gonna take the box out, I'm not putting the same one back in. If I take something out, something new is going in. So I'm gonna replace the box, replace the pump. I probably would have gotten rid of this thing if this thing wasn't so quick. It's just such a blast to drive. It's like driving a hot rod. And guess what? We don't even have wide open throttle yet. If I stomp on the gas pedal all the way down. Okay, so the pedal is floored. The pedal will not go down anymore. Now look. We still have quarter more throttle. We have 25% more throttle left. What I'm going to do, this just needs to be further out to pull further back. I'm going to drill a hole here. Stupid camera, hold still. This stupid thing, it won't stay tight. 1 second. Yeah, see, doesn't get tight. I'm going to drill a hole here, and then run the cable through here with a cable lock, cable clamp. That'll give me a wide open throttle. And I know there's nothing wrong with this Quadrajet. I just rebuilt this thing. We cleaned every orifice, replaced everything. So yeah, I know it can't be the Quadrajet. So yeah. Alright, it's getting dark, so we got this hot rod tuned up pretty good. Let's take it for a rip down the street before we lose daylight. I gotta get an electric pump in this thing. Alright guys, let me explain the absurdity, aggravation, frustration, just generally going mad with vapor lock. You'll be driving fine, and then it'll just start sputtering and die. 5 minutes later, cranks up, starts fine, go another 50 feet, sputter, and it dies. And you're like, what the heck? Is it my ignition? Is it my stupid carburetor? Is the stupid pump down there? What's going on with this thing? Why does it have power then doesn't have power? Well, the culprit's right here. It's none of those things. It's this guy right here. Fuel line and the fuel that's in it. What happens is, you come to a stop sign, and or you shut the engine off, either way. The fuel gets hotter, it boils, creates little oxygen bubbles, and the fuel quits moving, and if the mechanical pump is trying to suck air instead of fuel. It's kind of like having a heart attack. It's like your heart is trying to suck blood and it's just sucking air. What happens to your body, right? You atrophy. Well, your motor will atrophy when there's air and not fuel. What you got to do, you got to keep the fuel moving always. You can't have a split second where fuel's not moving. To fix that, put an electric pump right here. It's going to suck 24 hours a day as long as this thing's running. That is going to eliminate all the vapor lock. Best way to do that? Mighty Mite fuel pump. Like 30 bucks. Best carbureted fuel pump on the planet for 300 horsepower and less carbureted motor. V6, V8, 4-cylinder, whatever. This is what you need. Not one of them little crappy clicker pumps, but one of these guys. We're going to put this on, then we're going to rip this thing, and that'll fix it. Unless, of course, there's a clog in the fuel tank, or the filter is full of rust. I'm betting that it's just a stupid pump, which you can't see. This stupid pump right here. Alright. Let's rip into this thing. Alright guys, let me explain to you the insanity and the suffering.
Use the right lane to take exit
1 moment.
175 onto State Route 587 North.
And the suffering, I think that's the one I was on, of Jeep life. So, I have to drive 200 miles.
Take the exit, then turn right onto Casablanca Road toward Babe Jewel.
Oh, did I take the wrong exit?
At the stop sign, turn right onto Casablanca Road toward Babe Jewel.
Oh. At the stop sign, turn right. Okay. So anyway, I had to drive 200 miles to Hidden Valley Auto Parts to get a transfer case shifter lever that does not exist anywhere in reality or any other known planet or any other known solar system except Hidden Valley Auto Parts. So I bought the puke J7, and the guy said,
turn right onto Casablanca Road.
Thank you, Siri. I bought the puke J7, and the guy said someone had stolen the shifter lever. Now I know why the shifter lever got stolen. You can't find him anywhere. The only other... Siri,
turn right onto
seriously?
Casablanca Road.
Hold on. So anyway, the only other thing I could get is the twin stick shifter for
10 miles. Turn left onto North John Wayne Parkway.
an NP205 transfer case. And it's like over $300. This shifter is 50 bucks at this junkyard. But I have to drive 200 miles to get it. And to make it even more exciting, my eyes are really, really, really messed up. I don't know why. I have to go to the eye doctor. My eye appointment is at 3. That's just barely enough time to go get the stupid shifter and get back to Tucson to get my eyes figured out. All for the love of Jeeps. So, we'll see you at Hidden Valley Auto Parts. Alright, we are here. A long stretch of dirt road here to get to this place. Oh wow, it's going to be an awesome junkyard. Man, I wish I could spend all day here. If I didn't have an eye exam, oh my god, I would totally spend all day here. This looks awesome, man. This is my kind of place. Hector's Hidden Valley.
Hidden Valley Auto Parts.
Actually, I'm here for this van. We're going to put this van on a Jeep chassis. Okay, what do? I park here? I guess we park here. And walk inside. Check it. Guys, I absolutely wanted to spend all day here getting stuff, looking around, but I absolutely have to get back to Tucson and get my eyes fixed. My eyes are messed up so bad right now. I can only keep my eyes open for a few seconds at a time. So I have to totally get the heck out of here. Man, there is just an insane amount of stuff. Here's a Vega wagon. Dang, look at all this stuff, man. I could spend an eternity out here. God, look at this stuff. Man, I so am going to come back. There's houses, there's trailers and houses, and wow, there's just all kinds of stuff. I'm coming back here for sure one of these days. Alright, we just got out of eye surgery. Oh man. There was a piece of metal, rusty metal, all the way in my eye. They basically had to like stick needles and a Dremel inside my eye to get this rust out and this piece of metal, and I have a contact lens in my eye to keep air out. Oh my goodness. Jeep life. I can't remember when a piece of metal went into my eye. I was working on the Jeep. I don't remember anything falling into my eye at all. I just remember my eye hurting really bad out of nowhere. All in the name of putting old rotten Jeeps back on the road. You guys. Well, at least it's out. And next order of business, transfer case shifter and brakes and thrash. The ultimate goal is to thrash. So hopefully soon we'll have the Puke J7 out on the road and on the trails, doing burnouts, throwing mud, throwing sand, climbing hills, going on rocks, breaking parts. Big Bubba, I haven't even had time to mess with Big Bubba. I still got to compression test them and find out what cylinder's dead and what to do. We might just Chevy swap Big Bubba, to be honest. The convenience and ease of Chevy motors, being able to just get parts anywhere, and the way small block Chevys run, they make really good power. I mean, I love the way they accelerate and twist up, even when they're only like 250 horse. So we may just Chevy swap Big Bubba. I don't know. We'll see. I'd like to get this AMC running, get it fixed, just to see what AMC motors are like. So we'll see what we got here in a few. Alright, we just got out of eye surgery. Oh man. There was a piece of metal, rusty metal, all the way in my eye. They basically had to like stick needles and a Dremel inside my eye to get this rust out and this piece of metal, and I have a contact lens in my eye to keep air out. Oh my goodness. Jeep life. I can't remember when a piece of metal went into my eye. I was working on the Jeep. I don't remember anything falling into my eye at all. I just remember my eye hurting really bad out of nowhere. All in the name of putting old rotten Jeeps back on the road. You guys. Well, at least it's out. And next order of business, transfer case shifter and brakes and thrash. The ultimate goal is to thrash. So hopefully soon we'll have the Puke J7 out on the road and on the trails, doing burnouts, throwing mud, throwing sand, climbing hills, going on rocks, breaking parts. Big Bubba, I haven't even had time to mess with Big Bubba. I still got to compression test them and find out what cylinder's dead and what to do. We might just Chevy swap Big Bubba, to be honest. The convenience and ease of Chevy motors, being able to just get parts anywhere, and the way small block Chevys run, they make really good power. I mean, I love the way they accelerate and twist up, even when they're only like 250 horse. So we may just Chevy swap Big Bubba. I don't know. We'll see. I'd like to get this AMC running, get it fixed just to see what AMC motors are like. So we'll see what we got here in a few. Alright guys, we're out with the goats. That can only mean one thing. Jeep conclusion. So, this 83 CJ7. Well, it sounded awesome on paper. Chevy 4-speed. 205 transfer case. Chevy V8. Lift kit. TSL boggers. All the good things that make life worthwhile. Well, we got the thing. It leaked oil out of every orifice. The transfer case, the transmission, the aluminum adapter kit that goes between the two, the intake, the valve covers. The only thing that wasn't leaking were the head gaskets. Thank God for that. So, we got that at my buddy's shop. He is taking the entire drivetrain out, resealing everything so it doesn't leak out as fast as you pour it in. When I get it back, because I can't take the drivetrain out here on the deco rock. It's just impossible. You can't even slide a jack around. And I got to get the black Jeep going anyway. So when we get the green Jeep back, we are going to fix the power steering pump and the power steering box. And we are going to thrash on it and run trails. And so the next episode we will be getting to work on that, and we'll probably also be working on the black Jeep, chasing down the dead cylinder. So we'll see you on the next episode of Junkyard Jeep. Don't forget, brake parts, buy rusty, clunky, used parts so they can break again, and RTV sealer can do more than seal gaskets, it can fix tires.